Right, so the Jeremy Corbyn film The Big Lie still apparently causing some serious faux outrage in some quarters, it seems. And the latest example centres around two showings of the film being put on by students at Leicester University back on the 30th of June. So this story goes back about 2 weeks now. Now, in this case, the showings went ahead, well attended by all accounts. It was afterwards, though, that things took a slightly darker turn, and this seems to have come at the hands of the University of Leicester Labour Society the following day. They decided to issue a response to the showings of the film, which read, "We are concerned that yesterday the University of Leicester Student Union advertised the film, Oh, Jeremy Corbyn, The Big Lie. The film not only promotes anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that Corbyn was brought down by a Jewish lobby, but defends individuals expelled from the Labour Party for anti-Semitism, such as Chris Williamson. We messaged the student union about these concerns, and we are happy to report they said this incident was now being investigated and that the student union condones the film." No, that isn't me misspeaking. Hilariously, they put condones instead of the intended condemns and didn't notice it. I hope they aren't studying English there. "We are concerned that the film was advertised to begin with. However, we are satisfied our concerns were answered promptly." Right. Fair bit to unpack from that, aside from the appalling spelling, grammar, and indeed chosen wording. They did eventually correct their quite funny error. For a start, they were a day late. The showings had happened, so what was the point of this? Posters advertising it were put up around the university campus. The Uni Labour Society could have acted on this ahead of time. In fact, well, there's some rumour that they might have done, since a number of these posters were mysteriously ripped down. But still, the notion that the film is anti-Semitic is rampantly peddled, despite this not being the case. This was proven at the time it was meant to be shown at Glastonbury, when a lawyer threw out such notions, thanks to the leanings of the likes of the campaign against anti-Semitism on Glastonbury's sponsors. It got pulled, but it still got shown numerous times at different sites around the festival. Anyway, any excuse to bash Corbyn as an appalling racist is apparently opportunity enough for the CAA, and they were quick to offer their praise to the Leicester Students' Union and the Leicester Labour Society, saying in a tweet that it is only right that Leicester Students' Union withdraw its support for the anti-Semitism denial film, Oh, Jeremy Corbyn, The Big Lie, after the University of Leicester Labour Society voiced concerns. We commend the decision to stand with the Jewish community against such rank propaganda." Well, they would know all about rank. There is no reference to Jewish lobbies in the film at all. There is no inference that anti-Semitism didn't exist in the Labour Party. At the time, Jeremy Corbyn went for the 2017 general election from gaining seats for Labour for the first time since the Blair landslide of 1997 to being eviscerated 2 years later in 2019. And the film explores how such a dramatic rise to such a fall was engineered. The policies and what Corbyn stood for haven't changed. So, of course, it was never about that. It had to be about something else. And that was done by portraying Corbyn as being something he was not. Now, I talk quite a lot in my videos in reference to right-wing pro-Israeli interests like the CAA, like the Board of Deputies, the BOD. And, of course, many of us have heard of these because they get platformed so much, along with the Labour-centric group, the Jewish Labour Movement, all acting as if they speak for the Jewish community, when there is no one Jewish community. There are many. There are several. Those who exist just as much have opinions of their own that matter too. They don't necessarily get platformed in the same way, such as the Jewish Voice for Labour, or Jews' Justice for Palestine, or Independent Jewish Voices, or the Jewish Socialists Group. These are barely even known of as a result, but then they're rotten lefties on the whole who believe in equality and not right-wing pro-capitalist supporters of an apartheid state. The BBC calls for balance, for example. You often hear about this in relation to the BBC. We've got to have such and such on for balance. When are they ever going to get this lot on to balance this Jewish lobby or anti-Semitism argument then? Well, what's the point now? Corbyn's gone. Job done, isn't it? We're not interested anymore. Well, they and the rest of our rancid mainstream media didn't do any of this during the Corbyn years of Labour's leadership either, when it would have counted. Very much the opposite. And this is what the film fundamentally is all about. How they took Corbyn down, or how those who wanted him brought down, used this argument about anti-Semitism to do so. Functionally, the campaign against the film, now Corbyn is no longer leader, is about perpetuating the lies that were spread then. The film is aptly named, therefore, The Big Lie. Now, the film is so controversial and remains so because of actions taken by people such as those taken here at Leicester University by its Labour Society to keep it regarded in that frame of mind, to treat it as such ongoing, even though actually there's nothing controversial about it. It's just truth. Let's dig into their little statements some more. Let's go back to that a moment. There is no Jewish lobby mentioned in the film, as I said already. Making such a statement in itself, in my view, is borderline an anti-Semitic smear, I would imagine. They say it defends people expelled from the Labour Party over anti-Semitism, like Chris Williamson, when Chris Williamson was not expelled over anti-Semitism. In fact, he wasn't expelled at all. He resigned from the Labour Party. As for the student union investigating, the best form of investigation they could do would be to begin by watching the film first. And the same goes for anybody criticising it, like the Labour Society, who blatantly didn't, given the content of their complaint and the number of mistaken allegations made in it. It strikes me that the Labour Society in Leicester Uni jumped on the bandwagon here. I can only surmise because they must be on the starmerish side. And given how others have reacted to showing, such as Unite banning it from all of their buildings or Glastonbury taking it off their agenda too, people believe there's truth to the lies being peddled. There isn't. It's an expose of how the first political leader in a generation standing up to radically change this country got taken down by those terrified of such change coming in, of such change happening, and now being promoted by people and organisations allied to that thinking resolutely. Corbyn is no racist, never has been, never will be. His list of anti-racist achievements is a mile long, but all forgotten and replaced with smears most of us, busy in our lives as we are, will be too lazy to look beyond the headlines at. Such is the niche independent media like myself fall into, exposing the drivel so you don't have to go looking for it. Many thanks to the students at Leicester Uni who brought this story to my attention for being part of that pushback against lazy mainstream narratives too. It gives me hope for the future that the next generation will be less inclined to believe everything they read or are being told. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please do like, share and subscribe if you did, so you don't miss more daily content. Meanwhile, here's another video recommendation for you covering the further damage Labour is doing to itself, having deselected Corbyn as a Labour candidate and doing a fair bit of gloating about it whilst they were at it. And I'll hopefully see you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.